So as I've mentioned in some previous videos, I am no good at math. English, drama, film, history, geography, that's all a different story, but math, not so much. So whenever I had a test, quiz, exam, homework, thing, whatever, I always studied and practiced really hard to make sure I would do well. My grade 10 math teacher also believed you should study very hard no matter what the subject was. So in those last few weeks of grade 10 up until the final exam, she had us practicing at least a year's worth of math. Was it necessary? Yeah. Did it help? Yeah. Was it fun? No. And this overload of math was especially boring to a certain individual in my class that we're gonna call Mr. D. Now Mr. D was definitely a nice guy, there's no doubt about that. I got along with him pretty well. We weren't friends, but he was a friendly guy. But there's no escaping the fact that he was definitely a class clown. He's had so many pranks and antics in the class that are all hilarious, but this one definitely stands out the most. Just because it was so absurd and out of nowhere. So here's what happened. We were all doing our math. But Mr. D, on the other hand, was, once again, being a clown. And I guess my teacher had enough of it this time because she got pretty mad.
Mr. D,
she said as she spun around,
we have 2 weeks left until the final exam. If you don't want to do your math, that's fine. But there are other people in here that want to pass. So if you don't care, get out!
Mr. D looked upset, almost insulted. But only for a moment. The next thing Mr. D did was impossible to predict. Mr. D moved his chair, then stood on it. He cleared his throat, stood up straight, pointed at the teacher and said, "You!" Now the teacher said nothing as a response. Because honestly, how do you respond to that? Me! From that point on, the "you" kind of became like an in-joke between certain people. These people were mostly from my graduating class, and the "you" became just as familiar of a phrase as saying "dummy up." As a matter of fact, I actually made a video on my old channel called The Flying Cow. The video was called, The Power of You. The whole thing was basically just a reference to the whole "you" incident. So that's pretty much all there is to say about this story. If Mr. D ever does see this video, and trust me, he'll know who he is. I know we were never really good friends in high school, but you've given me and so many others so many hilarious memories, so thank you. So until next time, you be happy, be safe, and be yourself.